Hi goddesses, and today on Simples we're doing one of my favourite dotting techniques. Dots within dots, which also sometimes is called rings, and I love it. It's so simple but so effective. So I have a partly prepared paw for you already. On my thumb, my index and my middle I have the beautiful Cadillacquer All Sparks, which is a pink hollow, but it has shimmer in it and electricity, and there's bits of gold, and it's just utterly beautiful. And then on the ring and the pinky we have one of the other new Cadillacquers, Spectrum, which is a delicious, I don't know, it's almost watermelony, also a hollow, but it's also got flakies in, and it's just fabulous. So to start our rings within rings, we are going to do dark dots on our pale pink nails. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is we are going to do very large dots. So I'm making myself quite a big blob here off camera on my blobbing mat. Okay, and we're going to take our largest dotting tool again. Okay, so we're going today for random placing, really. You don't want anything too uniform. It can be quite hard though, but you want to make it look like you just thought, yeah, that'll be a good place to put a dot. Also, don't be afraid to do one that only half sits on the nail. They can look quite good. So we're now going to do the same for the next two nails. I'm going to do slightly fewer dots on those. Okay, now whilst those are drying, we are going to take a very small dotting tool and do some little tiny dots just here and there to fill in some of the gaps. You don't have to do this stage, but for me it just gives the mani a lovely feel afterwards. Also, the reason I'm doing it now is it saves me doing it another week, and also it's helping the polish dry whilst I do this. Okay, and then that one. So we're just filling in those gaps, a bit like we did last week, with some small dots. Okay, and then we just want to check, are we happy with the spacing? Whoops. Or do we feel there's some more places we could have put some? Probably on that pink there. Maybe in that corner there. Okay, so whilst we wait for the dark pink blobs to dry, we are going to put the pale pink blobs on the dark pink nails. So again, blob of polish. If you've never tried Cadillacquer before, I honestly recommend you do. They seriously are one of my favourite brands. Madeline just makes gorgeous polishes, and I think these ones that she's just released may be my favourites ever. They're just deliciously subtle, really gorgeous. She's done a fabulous job, fabulous. Oops, that was a close call. I almost ruined my nail there. Okay, so we just want to check what that looks like. Okay, and then we're going to get our very fine dotting tool again and do some teeny tiny pale pink dots. I'm sorry the lighting isn't absolutely fabulous on this. I really haven't figured out my perfect setup yet in the nail room. The nail room is built for photos, not videos, and it also has hideous pink curtains, which can make the lighting a bit wonky, and I've just not found the best place to set the video camera up. So if you've got any suggestions of how you think it could look better, feel free to let me know. Okay, so we now have a pour where we have large dots and micro tiny dots. What we're going to do now is take a medium sized dotting tool, and on every large dot we're going to do a medium sized dot in the opposite colour. Okay, now usually I would want my polish to dry a little bit more here, but for the sake of the video that's not going to happen. And what you want to do is place your dot perfectly central. Oh, ideally you don't want a crater like that, so that as it goes on it will look like a pustule in the beginning. I'm afraid you'll just have to get used to that, but after it dries it's going to look like a ring, because all that you'll be able to see is the outer edges of the base dot. Okay, do you have to be careful? Yeah, a little. You've got to be a little bit precise. If you get your dots wonky, they will still look lovely, but they won't be the effect that you're going for. Okay. This is where I'm beginning to think I would have been better doing black and white dots for you. Sorry. I think my favourite version I've ever done of this, I did a red and silver one, I think, which was gorgeous, and a navy and silver one. Silver provides a fabulous contrast in these manis. It's also quite crafty to mix a hollow and a cream, so that maybe you've got the hollow ring just squeaking out from underneath your cream polish. Okay, yep, so they look done. So I just need to go back and do myself a tiny blob of our darker polish. And again, my medium dotting tool. Now, if your first dots aren't dry enough, you're going to notice straight away. First of all, you're either going to make a crater where the dotting tool has just indented the original dot a lot, or it's going to go a bit messy. So if your first dot looks a bit wrong, I would stop. You can, to an extent, balance it out with a lighter touch, which is what I'm using here, but it's much better to have allowed your dots to dry. This mani also is absolutely fabulous as a day 2 and day 3 one. It's a great mani to do the big dots first and then the little dots round it, and then add your rings the following day afterwards. So that at the moment looks like I've caught anthrax or God knows what. I trust you, by the time I top coat it, it will look lovely. It will not look like pus is about to escape, and you'll be able to see it on the blog just as soon as I've tidied it up. Simples!